What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders. We have a very exciting week coming up. We're going to have a ton of wide receiver draft content coming out. It's going to be the first week of free agency opening. A lot going on. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here. I'll be here to cover as much as humanly possible, including a lot around the draft. We're really going to ramp it up. We're going to be aiming for 5 videos a week. Lord help me. But looking forward to it. So, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any. And today we're going to start with a mock draft Monday. I think it's always kind of fun to go into a mock draft before free agency happens because you can carry in some of your assumptions before things have happened. But one big ball did drop in the Ravens court, and that is the extension signing, whatever you want to call it, of Justin MADUBUIKE. So obviously won't be playing on the franchise tag. Significant cap savings, giving the Ravens a chance to be a bit of a player. I wouldn't say a major player. They'll probably make a mid-level signing, but they can be a player nonetheless, and they don't have to sit back. They'll probably be looking, the way they are with comp picks. So they'll probably be looking at some of the players that have been cut from other teams to not interfere with the comp pick formula. They're expected to get some pretty high picks with a guy like Patrick Queen likely signing elsewhere. So I think that makes it a bit of a fun mock draft because we can go into it with a bit more of a BPA perspective. I fully expect the Ravens to be filling holes so that they can kind of go in and do that BPA. So let's get things started here. We'll kind of see what pops up at pick number 30 for the Baltimore Ravens. May even take a look at some of the trade back spots if one of the QBs falls. JJ McCarthy does fall. The Ravens and Bo Nix is there as well. So the Ravens are in an interesting spot here where they have a couple of the solid receivers, a couple solid corners, an edge in Chris Braswell, Jordan Morgan, and 5 trade offers coming in. Likely guys. Wonder if you guys would have seen yesterday. They went with Marvin Harrison. So Patriots are likely looking to trade up here and get a quarterback. After trading away Mac Jones, obviously they're going separate way. You got the Giants, you got the Raiders. But I think I'm going to stick and pick because one wide receiver that caught my eye, you're going to see some film on him dropping tomorrow. That's Adonai Mitchell out of the University of Texas. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to pick him. I just think the value right there is too good. Yes, the Ravens go wide receiver again, but this is a wide receiver that fits a lot of the things that Todd Monken's offense wants to do, and I think is going to find a really good home here in Baltimore. So now we get into the second round. You see Marshawn Kneeland. Christian Haynes is a guy that pops out to me. Blake Fisher at offensive tackle. Obviously a guy that would be very interesting. Patrick Paul. That's a name that just excites the hell out of me. This will probably be seen as a bit of a reach. His ADP is 80.1. We're picking at 62. I will have film on him coming out next week, but I am going to go with Patrick Paul. Trust me already, he's going to get a bad grade. PFF doesn't like him in the mock draft machine, but this is a guy that is a true left tackle. A developmental guy, and he'll be coming into a situation where he may not need to play right away, but may need to play next year. And I think you're getting an unbelievable athlete in Patrick Paul, and you're getting a guy with a ton of upside. So a lot of technique that needs to be cleaned up, and I think Baltimore is the perfect place for him to be to do that. So we have wide receiver and offensive tackle addressed through 2 rounds. Obviously, some outstanding needs. You see a guy like Max Melton that's just popping out. You got DJ James there as well. Audric Esteem out of Notre Dame. Cam Hart out of Notre Dame. So a lot of interesting names. But I think we're going to go, if I can scroll back up here, I'm going to go with Max Melton out of Rutgers. And really the deciding factor for Melton with me is he is just physical as all hell. I think he's a guy that will be able to play a rotational role this year. And then if Brandon Stevens prices himself out of Baltimore, he'll be able to step in next year. Had a hell of a Senior Bowl, really got noticed, and performed pretty well at the Combine as well. So this is a guy that, again, the physicality is something that I think Baltimore Ravens fans are going to love. So we've hit corner now. We're going in to the 4th round with our comp picks. Braylon Allen is popping out to me. Take a quick look at some of the other options. Is there an edge, developmental edge? We got 2 picks coming up, not back-to-back, but pretty close to back-to-back. The defensive linemen out of Clemson are there as well. I think we're going to roll with Braylon Allen on this one, out of Wisconsin, replacing Gus Edwards as the Ravens power back. Obviously, again, this is an interesting pick because obviously the Ravens have been linked heavily to a guy like Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry was the pick, they would not go in this direction as it would be kind of redundant for skill sets. Ravens like to diversify there. And so, that's why doing this now is always kind of interesting. We'll see how that compares to what happens in free agency in the next couple of weeks. Grayson Murphy's popping off to me, Xavier Thomas, Tyler Davis. I think I'm actually going to go with Xavier Thomas. He's a little undersized. I think that's kind of why he's been dropping in a lot of the draft projections. But, he was a pressure merchant at Clemson. He's one of those guys that, not high sacks, but a lot of pressure. It's the kind of guy that I think the Ravens will love. Versatile guy, very athletic. So someone that I think really fits into their unique perspective of what they want in an edge. Keep rolling here. We get into the 6th round. We've hit most of what I think our biggest needs are. So now we can really sit back and go BPA. And one name that's popping to me, and that is James Williams out of the University of Miami. This is a guy that is built like Kyle Hamilton, obviously not as skilled, 6'5", 215, unique for the position, a guy that can kind of come in and move all around, play a little bit in the box. Reminds me a little bit about what Jaron Kearse has been doing in Dallas for the last few years. So I think, with the way the Ravens use safeties and DBs all over the place, especially with how they've used Kyle Hamilton, I think James Williams would be a fun piece to develop here. I could also see him being a very key special teamer, which the Ravens will love in some of these, late round picks. So I see in here, I got to go check. I should know this, but I don't. But the Ravens have an extra 7th, I believe. So I don't know if that was a comp pick awarded or if it's a glitch or an error in PFF system. I think it was actually, is it a 7th? Yeah, it's a 7th from the Jets. So maybe we had a conditional pick that I don't remember. The only trade I can think of is Chuck Clark, if there was another pick assigned to that. But I would like to pick up some developmental linemen here. And I think Brandon Coleman out of TCU might just be the guy to bring in another offensive lineman to compete. Obviously, this wasn't O-line heavy, which I'm really interested to get your guys' perspective on. I also went with a developmental offensive tackle. So this draft would be really relying on who we have and not necessarily upgrading for the first year. So that's really what I'm looking to you guys to get your perspective on. And this is really from the purview of we're going to probably roll with at the guard position with Andrew Voorhees and Ben Cleveland. I'm expecting they'll add a veteran to compete, but probably not an instant starter, more a guy that you would be developing there. And then I'm going to add Jordan McGee in the 7th round as that linebacker special teamer. You'll see me take him all the time. I absolutely love that kid's game. I think he's a great fit here in Baltimore. So that's the draft we come away with. This is an interesting draft. I think this really shows the uniqueness of drafting on the fly. You see there's the D- for Patrick Paul. So like I said, this is very light on the offensive line, which coming from me is kind of ironic. You guys know I love that position. But, it's just the cards didn't fall right for us. And that's kind of how you have to react on game day. But I think they got some key contributors here in a lot of spots. I think Adonai Mitchell with Zay Flowers, that's a 1-2 punch for the future. They can really beat you deep, beat you short, beat you in a lot of ways. Max Melton adds to that cornerback room. Obviously, adding Braylon Allen would be solid for the running back room. Very productive out of the University of Wisconsin. Runs with that physical style that we saw from Gus Edwards. And then adding to the defense with Xavier Thomas, James Williams, Jordan McGee, very versatile guys that really fit the Ravens positionless football mantra. And then they get a developmental tackle in Brandon Coleman. So, big question for you guys. Does this miss the mark in terms of not giving enough help to the offensive line? I want to hear from you guys. Drop a comment down below. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this video. And, of course, subscribe. Lots of draft content coming out. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Peace out.